The main approach to the park is down a wide avenue called Skegby Road, was referred to as Newkin Lane. Halfway down where Parkside is now, there was a field, and if I remember rightly, on the right there were allotment gardens. At the bottom of the lane on the right there was a path close to the hedge, and where the path is now there was a cutting with a flow of spring water. Now the water is piped underground as far as Shooter's Bridge. On the left, the narrow entrance to the park was flanked on either side by a hedge and a tall tree. Inside the gates there was a triangular area with shrubs and bushes, and beyond that was a large sandpit and wooden roundabout. On the left, a rectangular concrete paddling pool was fed with water from a spring, and behind the pool, against the hedge, there was a long wooden building, I believe were changing rooms. Over on the right there were two football pitches. One was level and ran left to right. The other pitch ran from the top of the field down to the other pitch. Around here was a small brick building used by the park keeper, and further along there were two cast iron frames of the slides. Of course there were no trees at all in this area, just an open field stretching off into the distance. At the bottom of Unwin Street there was a concrete pipe and a soil bridge providing a way across the ditch, as there was a path straight up the field. The path went up the bank into what we still call the jungle. Interestingly, on the right, along this path, there were the partly filled remains of a zigzag of ditches which were dug during the war by Italian prisoners of war, who were billeted in a camp at the bottom of Common Road. Sadly, there is no trace of the ditches now. After the war, I believe the camp buildings became the Everest Crisps factory. Who can remember the packets of crisps with a blue twist of paper containing salt to sprinkle on your crisps? At the top of the field, at the corner of the golf course, the path, like today, split left and right. The right-hand path, known locally as the Hobbit Walk, was an open path between two fields, known as Jack Wright's Tops. The path today follows the same route as the original, but around where the bird feeding station is now, the path joined a short lane which met up with the track bed of the railway line from Sutton Colliery. After the pit closure, the line became known as Silver Hill Trail and went down past the Wood End, Newton and Blackwell and joined the main line at Westhouses. To get to the main path through the park, you walked a little way along the track, then down to the right across a field to join the path before a railway bridge which led eventually to Bran Lane at Stanton Hill. Back at the bottom of Unwin Street, and the stream in the open ditch had been joined by water from many springs along the route towards where the bridge is now. Again, no trees along this stretch. At the bridge, the stream took a right turn and headed along the boundary between Huthwaite and Sutton. I believe there is a boundary marker stone along this stretch. It was at the bridge on the 19th of May 1994 that the park was officially launched as the Greenwood Community Forest by the then chairman of the local council, Councillor David Shooter. Hence the bridge was named Shooter's Bridge. The stream took another sharp left turn and headed across scrubland, now behind a protective fence, before meeting up with the colliery spoil heap, where it again turned and headed towards what is now the Oval. It then disappeared underground, to emerge beyond Staniford Road as the Miners at the Miners Arms pub and along Skegby Bottoms. When the park was created, the marshy scrubland was excavated to become Brierley Pond, or to give it its posh name, Brierley Waters, now home to some of the park's wildlife. We now have a wonderful forest with wildflower meadows and an abundance of wildlife from deer, foxes, badgers and many bird species. but there are dark clouds on the horizon, as permission has been given for the building of 300 plus houses very close to the pond on the park. Will the urbanisation of the area drive away for good the wildlife that call Brierley Forest their home? Only time will tell.